where we ended the last time. And then quickly we will finish with that. And then next week we will start a new topic. And as I said, your book for this semester has been in process. I'm sure very soon it will be done and then you will have it. So let's hope it's going through some few processing and then when they are done, it will be ready. All right. So I hope we are all ready. We can start our class. We can continue from where we left off last week.
Yes, please.
All right. So let me share my screen quickly. All right. So last 2 weeks, as I said, we were discussing about systems and all that. So today we want to define. We have already defined what business information technology is, and then what information technology itself is, which is the broader picture, which and includes or has the component of entertainment, whatever. But when we talk about business information technology, using technology to support business activities, right? So today, as we are talking about system, also we need to understand what business information system is, and then try to break it down. Then we will discuss some aspects, different types of systems that are used with the help of technology, systems that are used to support business activities and stuff. So when we talk about business information system or systems, it can basically be defined as what a group of what interrelated components. The components must be related. They need to be able to work together. You understand? They need to be knit together so they can be able to achieve something. So interrelated component that work collectively to carry out input. We have defined what an input is. Trying to what send something into a system or capture something into a computer system or manual systems. Input, process, then we need to process this, which gives out an output, which becomes information. And then we move on from the information to store this information. So this system will help us to be able to what, enter input into our computer, process this input, and then as we process this input, we come out with what, an output, which can be stored, and then control actions. We spoke about these controls, that on the old format of what processing information is just about information, the process, and then what the output, which is the information. But now we need to add some mechanism or some techniques, controls, getting feedbacks, and then based on the feedback, we recapture that into the system, process it to get an output. Right? So those are the controls. So the control actions in order to what, convert data into information, as I have just explained, or information product that can be used to support forecasting. So that based on the information, we can forecast in the next 5 years, what will the distance school be in need of? How is it going to be? Based on what is happening now, what we are experiencing now, we can forecast. It is based on the information we have. So we can plan, helps you to also plan, control your business activities, and then what, coordinate and then make decisions, and then also support operational activities in an organization. So components coming together, and we'll be talking about these components now. These components coming together to work in order for us to be able to what, capture some input or enter some input, process this input, turn out to become an information which can be stored through using some controls and other stuff in order to what, convert this data that we have spoken about into information, which can help us to be able to what, forecast, plan, control, coordinate, and then make decisions in our business. That is what we term as what, business information systems. So let's talk about some of the components or resources when it comes to what, business information systems or business information technology. So resources that support business information systems or business information technology, or the components of the business information systems or technology. The first one is what? People. Every system needs human beings. You understand? You cannot develop a system in your workplace and then you can just tell me that the system doesn't need any human being. The system can work on its own. No. Systems always need human being. They need people to work with. And when we talk about the people, sometimes you have different categories of people. We can talk about the leaders of the organization or the top managers of the organization who are the visionaries of the company. They sit, think, decide, plan, and then come out with a form that, oh, we need a system, and the system is supposed to support this aspect of the business. So those are the visionaries. And then the moment they come up with that idea, there must be a team formed. So we form an IT team, which include all the IT experts in the organization, and then employees from different departments who are put on this team, and then they develop the system. And then the system must be used or must be tested by what? Users, to understand how the system can support their work. You understand? And then as they use the system, they come up with what? Feedbacks, which is also termed as what? User-generated content. So they come up with complaints, challenges, they criticize the system, and then based on these criticisms and then the challenges, we input that, which becomes feedback. We input the feedback into the system, and then we are able to what? Work around it to come up with what? So people are very important in any information system or information technology. And then the hardware. When we talk about the hardware, this doesn't only focus on what? Computer hardware, but also the machines that we need in the organization. It's also form part of what? The business information technology or the business information systems. So all the machines that we need, including the computers hardware, is the physical machines that we need. Those are the hardware. And then the softwares also doesn't only focus on what? Program or the codes or the instructions that we enter into the computer, but also can focus on the processes that people will have to go through to achieve a task. Those are also softwares, because those steps sometimes are not even written down. They are just steps in the mind that you think about. This is what I have to do. This is what this person is also doing, and then we are able to achieve a goal. So it also includes all those steps or procedures, and then also the softwares that we run on our computers to help us to be able to achieve our goal. And then the next is what? The communication resources. These resources are also needed in order for us to be able to share information with others. We are now, as at now, we are using some communication resources, connecting through the internet, either through a cable. As I'm here now, I'm using a cable. I'm using Ethernet cable in my office to connect to my laptop so I can share information. And then some of you are also using wireless means to connect. So these are all communication channels that we need in order to share information and then also receive information or transfer data from one end to the other. And then we have the data resources also, which are the raw facts that we need to input into the system so we can process that. We could also talk about what? The processes, which is also a resource. The processes that the data resource need to go through to become information. So converting raw facts into a digital format that the computer can understand and process to give us. So these are the components that support business information systems or business information technology. All right. So this is an activity that you can just take your time, read through, and then try and list some of the things that have been provided here. So what are some of the advantages or merits when it comes to what? Computer processing or the use of computers or technology? One of the key or major advantages of technology today is what? Speed. You understand? Computers can process millions of instructions within a second.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please, can you go back for a second?
Okay. Is it the exercise or?
Yes, please.
I want to take a screenshot of it.
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So can we move on now?
Yes, please.
All right. So speed. Well, I think in the hardware and software, we spoke about different types of computers or generational computers. There's what we call mainframe computers, supercomputers. The supercomputer, the fastest computer on earth now, can create trillions of information within a second with just a click, and then trillions of activities can be performed. So computers can perform activities at a very high speed at any time or any point in time or at any moment. And then accuracy also is one characteristic or advantage of computer. So when you're using computer to perform calculations, you always trust that the computer will give you the accurate results. You understand? As compared to your own mind when you are calculating, but the moment you start entering information into computer system and then you press on calculate, the answer you don't even check whether, but you trust that 99% this result will be accurate. And that is one characteristic of computers, that when it process information, it gives out what accurate information. Unlike human beings, where sometimes we make mistakes and we come back and say, "Oh, I didn't say it well at all. I'm sorry." You understand? Today I was telling one of my lectures that I have today. I was telling the class that somebody who was going to, I think I did mention this, someone who was going to the hospital to amputate one of the legs, hoping that he'll come back home with one leg. He ended up losing the two legs. You understand? Because of what? Inaccurate information. And so computers will definitely give you accurate information, unlike human beings. And then reliable. So computers can work tirelessly 24 hours, 72 hours. Sometimes we just shut the machine down just for some maintenance and some kind of repairs and some kind of basic things. But the computers can be on like server rooms, major like Facebook. Their server room is always active. The computers are just working. They are reliable. You know that users can be online and then they can do whatever that they want to do. They can post, the computers are working, the systems are working. The supercomputers or the mainframe computers that they are using are working actively. 24-hour machines. They don't get tired. They don't feel like, oh, today I want to sleep small. They are working. And then we can also program computers. One advantage of computers is that a computer system or a device can be designed to perform a specific or particular activity. But this computer can also be programmed to add other activities to whatever that they are supposed, even though difficult, but it is possible. Like your mobile phone. Your mobile phone has been programmed to perform certain functions. But this same mobile phone can be programmed again to perform other functions. So if the computer is supposed to perform activity A, now we can program this computer to perform or to add activity B in addition to activity A. And that is one advantage of a computer. And then repetitive tasks. Computers can repeat the same thing over and over again without complaining. But as human beings, sometimes we get tired of the same thing that we've been doing. Sometimes even when I'm coming to class, I get tired. It's like, it's like I've been doing the same thing almost every weekend. Class 1:45, go and teach. After this, you do. It's like you need a break. And we need some 2 months break. We need to travel and go and take a rest. We need to go so that at least the mind can. But computers can repeat the same work for 2 years, for 10 years, and they are still doing it. They don't get tired. They don't complain. Nothing happens to these machines. So when we are using machines, it helps us to reduce the mistakes that mostly human beings make whenever we are processing information. Because the moment the mind gets tired, like myself, when I'm teaching and then I get tired, you can see that you can experience that in my teaching. I make a lot of mistakes, some pronunciation, some kind of word. Like, I can see that actually the brain is tired. But I need to finish the class because, hey, I have been taxed. Yeah, but a computer will repeatedly do the same work without tiredness, without complaining and all that. And then computers can also be consistent. What you enter is what the computer will give you. Garbage in, garbage out. If you provide wrong information or the computer to process, it will give you wrong output. You understand? So that is one of the. So let's look at some of the limitations when it comes to information technology or computer-based processing. Judgment or what experience. So despite the fact that AI has become so important, and then all these IoT and then expert systems we can detect and reason like human being, as we see, most computer-based information systems are considered to be incapable of solving problems using their own judgment and then experience. You need to tell the computer what to do. The computer cannot make judgment and say, oh, this is what's supposed to be. Even the series we have in those of you using iPhones and all that, it gives you a prompt and then asks you what to do. What do you want to do? It needs your input. The computer cannot make an informed decision and say, oh, this is the final. It needs the input of human beings. And then flexibility. Computer-based information systems are unable to react to unexpected situations and then events. So as it has been tasked to perform A, B, C, and D, that is what it's going to perform. Input, process, output, get feedback, enter the feedback through some controls, input, process, that is all that the computer will be performing. So the moment there's unexpected situation, the computer cannot make adjustment. You see, human beings are always able to make adjustments. Looking at the situation, oh, okay, you begin to think, oh, okay, let me see. Okay, I'll try and see what I can do. Do you get it? And then you can make some kind of changes. But a computer cannot do that. It is just following whatever has been given to it, and then it works based on all those things. All right. And then the next one is what? Innovation. Computers at a point cannot think and then come up with new ideas. No. It needs the input. Even all the AI machines, they have been programmed. You understand? Based on somebody's or people, the computer gathers your activities and it begins to input that into the system to process it, to give you results. So whenever you are looking for any information, it is the work of the AI to gather all your activities that have been performed. So the AI is on your machine. So whatever goes on your machine, it processes that. It keeps those things and processes them. It takes those things as what? Input, process them, and then come out with an output. So you ask the computer and the computer is giving you results. It is giving you those results based on what you have been doing. And therefore it gathers those information and then give them out to you as an output. So it doesn't really come up with new ideas and new products, and it depends on human beings to do that. And those are some of the limitations. And then intuition is also one factor. Human beings, we have feelings. So at a certain point, when situations are happening, just like as the flood happened in Ghana here, or in Accra, not Ghana, but in Accra here, in other part of Ghana, because of the intuition in the human beings or the feelings in human beings, we have emotions, we have feelings, but computers do not have that. As you have asked the computer to perform this task, that is what is good. Whether there is change in your mood, whether there is feeling, it doesn't care. But human beings can look at you and say, oh, seems today you guys are not, the whole class, let's cancel the class and then meet next week because of this person. Or maybe somebody is injured as you're having a class. We might pause and say, oh, because of what has happened to this person. But computers do not have that. As long as they have been tasked to do this, they don't care whether somebody is dead, somebody is this, somebody is. They will just continue to do their work. That is why people are not a bit comfortable with these automobile cars that are coming up. That you sit in a car and the car is just driving. The car doesn't even care about your feelings. Something has happened to you, you have to tell, hey, stop, because. But as you are driving and then you see somebody sitting by you in a car and the person is about going off, quickly you can, because of your intuition and the feelings in you, you would stop or you would drive quickly to a hospital and take the person. But the computer might just be sitting there and then be looking at the person and just be driving. So information systems or business information systems or technology cannot use these kind of things to make changes, or it doesn't have any feelings, so they are just working. And then quality information or qualitative information. We spoke about qualitative and then quantitative information. We said quantitative information is what? Structured form of information. And then qualitative information is what? Unstructured form of information. So what is structured and what is unstructured? We did talk about that last week. So when you input unstructured information into the computer, like observational reports, you give it to the computer cannot process and give you another, because it doesn't have that kind of intuition in it for it to be able to determine. They will ask people who were quiet, it means this or it means that. No, you will just give suggestions. And that is one of the major issues when it comes to. But people, human beings, can easily gather qualitative information and then use it, even though it's unstructured, but we can be able to make a decision out of that and then make recommendation for others to, make their input and all that. So that is basically some of the limitations when it comes to computer processing. So let's look at what I think we spoke about this. I did mention these levels the last time. I don't know if you remember. Did I mention something like this the last time? Strategic, tactical, operational. Did we mention anything like that? I think I explained this in our first lecture also. Does anybody remember? Are we here?
Yes, we are here, please.
Oh, I didn't mention. I have not mentioned. If I haven't, then you just let me know so that. But I'm going to explain anyway. But I just want to know if I did mention anything I like that. I spoke about these levels of management: top level management, middle level management, and then
Yes, we spoke about it.
yeah, so that is basically what we have here. But this talks about how technology can be used, you understand, to support this level. So the top level management is what? The strategic level, where strategic decisions are taken to support or to help the organization gain competitive advantage over their competitors. So GCT, you putting up new lecture halls and all that, it's helping us to maintain the number of students we are having, so that at a point students will not complain that, and we are in the school, we don't even have a lecture hall, and we are tired of this, sitting outside and having lectures. What kind of university is this? This is Accra. We are not in the village. I hope you are getting it. But if we will gain competitive advantage against our competitors, because we have a lot of lecture halls, and therefore we can maintain our students, or we can contain our students in the school. So that is basically. So at the strategic level, we can use different types of information systems to support decision making. The top level uses what we call the executive information systems. So the executive information system basically gathers information from the external environment and then the internal environment, and then breaks this information that has been gathered into different components, and then explains and then give an output. So you see top management, they are just sitting down, checking on the dashboard to see what is happening. Check, and then they run this analysis and find out, oh, okay, so if we do this and this and that, we will be able to do this. Or they come in and then tell the lower level, which is the tactical level, what is happening or the decision they've taken. and therefore they want them to implement this decision. So the next level is the tactical level, which is the middle level management, where they take tactical decisions, medium term decisions. So at this level, they enforce that the decision that has been taken by the top level is being implemented in the organization, and they use what we call the decision support systems to support their activities. The decision support systems also breaks the information down into certain components, which makes it easier to make an informed decision. And then we also have what we call the information reporting systems, or the information management system, which is a type of system which is also generates reports. That is why we call this reporting system. They generate report from the what? The lower level, which is the operational activities. As the operational activities are going on, the day-to-day running of the school, people coming in to buy forms, doing this, paying for their fees and all that. Those are the day-to-day activities. And then we have a system that captures all those activities and then send them to the next level as reports. And then we use these information reporting systems to analyze the report and break them down into maybe faculty by faculty. So this only performs maybe faculty, so the distance school, everything together. But it doesn't break them down into the different components, where we can understand that inside the distance school we have the HR, how many are from the HR, how many are from this. So it has to move on to the decision support, where this is broken down. Then we know how many HR students paid their fees this week, how many have not paid, and all that. So these are the systems that can be used to support these two levels, the strategic level and then the tactical level. The strategic deals with the executive information systems, and then the decision support system supports the tactical, and then also the information reporting or the information management system also support the tactical. And then when we come to the lower level, which is the operational, and then the transaction processing, which is together. In the normal triangle, we have only three, which is the operational, tactical, and then strategic. But the operational can be divided into the transaction processing and then the operations that we perform. And then we can use what we call the office automation systems also to support the day-to-day running of the organization, where everything in the office is about technology. Instead of manual working, we convert everything, or we automate our office activities. So you go to the director's office or the HR manager's office, and you only see a laptop and then a coffee cup and then a telephone, whatever, sitting in his office. There's nothing again, because everything has been automated. So we use this office automation systems to support the running of all the day-to-day activities in the office. And they also have the transaction processing system, which is used to gather the day-to-day transactions that goes on at the bank, at the hospital, at the school, whatever, wherever that we use. And then we have the process control systems. These are more or less like sensors, Bluetooth, and all those devices which are used to check or to monitor the temperature of an environment. So the manufacturing department have sensors that monitors. If the production is going down, we get a signal, and then somebody has to go and alert them to produce more. Or if the production is over exceeding what we are supposed to produce, we get a signal, so we stop the production. These are all systems that are used to support the day-to-day running of organization. All right, and then we have what we call the e-business and then e-commerce. I think this is one course that you'll be having if you have not already started dealing with this, but you have more discussion on these topics as you go on in the university. All right, it's a whole topic on its own for a whole semester. All right, so when we talk about e-business and then e-commerce, e-business is basically electronic mediated information exchange. Right? So this is JCT, which does its business online. So it's not just about buying and selling of things in the school, but what we are doing, we are performing e-business, conducting teaching and learning on the internet, using technology to conduct teaching. We are not paying any fees as at now, but we are having lectures, we are having meetings. All your meetings are done using technology. If you need any administrative assistant, there's somebody that you can communicate with. Send email, call the person on phone. You don't need to come to campus. So these are all business. Sometimes you are not even a student, but you can come in and make inquiries about the school, find out what programs we have and all that. That is what we call the electronic business. And then the e-commerce is a subset of the e-business, because e-commerce basically deals with the buying and selling. That's where the buying and selling of activities, the transactional activities. It also can focus on what? Sharing of information. The customers come in, make inquiries and all that. But the e-business is the bigger picture, where it supports both the internal organization and then the external stakeholders who are also part, or who are within the community, but they are not part of the organization, but they are within the community. They support their processes and their activities. All right. So I've explained e-commerce. So under the e-commerce, we have the buy side e-commerce and then the sell side e-commerce. When we talk about the buy side e-commerce, basically JCTU, which is an organization or a company or a firm, purchasing things from what? Or items from suppliers. So we have suppliers from different institutions. So if a business is buying from another business or its supplier, then we call that as what? Buy side e-commerce. And then the sell side is what? The institution or the business or the organization selling its products or services to its customers. That is the sell side. And then the buy side is what? The buy side is what? Buying from your suppliers, getting your product or purchasing items from your suppliers or people that the company deals with. So these are the two major. And then when we go deeper into it, we can break them down into different components. Business to business e-commerce, business to consumer, consumer to business, business to government, or government to business, and all that we can talk about. So as I said, as you go on, you will be dealing more with these activities. All right, so what are enterprise systems? When we talk about enterprise systems, today I don't have phone. I don't know whether Abraham, you sent me a message, but I've not been on phone since.
Yes, I even tried to reach you.
I didn't go through.
Yeah. Yes, please. So when I saw you online, I was like, hey.
Yeah, so I've decided to stay off my
Okay.
phone for just some few days. So no calls, no messages, no nothing. I just switch my phone off somewhere and then I just want to take some rest.
Very important.
Yeah, I don't add those stress. The stress. So I have had 2 lectures already. This is the 3rd one, and then I'll have the last one after your class.
Oh, okay.
You see, so it's stressful. And
yes,
please. Hello, hi, how are you? I'm fine. You know, I just want to maybe by Sunday or something, then I'll just activate my phone for all those stuff. So sometimes that's what I'll be doing of late. Sometimes I just switch the phone off for a whole day and then rest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So when we talk about enterprise is just like an organization. It can be a big organization or a medium-sized enterprise or whatever. But enterprise basically means organization that has different units or departments within that organization. Like GCTU can be an enterprise because we have different departments or different units. We have the HR, we have the accounting, we have the distance school, we have the business school, we have the IT school, we have the engineering school, and all that. So when we put that together, it becomes an enterprise. And then this enterprise also uses systems or uses a system to support the activities, right? So what is an enterprise system? Basically, systems that are aimed to support the business processes of an organization across any functional boundaries that exist within the organization. So within GCTU, not outside our boundaries, but within our boundaries, which we have spoken about. We know boundaries and we know the interface, which is the boundary between the organization and then the environment, right? So we are talking within GCTU. We use systems to support our activities. So a system that supports the processes, right, if you're a student of GCT or the distance school, you don't pay your money straight or direct to the distance, but you have an account that you have to go and pay your money into. But the moment you pay your money, it goes through process, and then the distance school is aware of whatever that you have paid, and then they activate your account for you, and then they open up your portal for you to register your courses and all those things. So this helps us to be able to work within the boundaries. So HR has idea how many students, or maybe the finance department, let me say the finance, have idea how many students are within the distance school, and then how many lecturers are teaching these students, how much each student supposed to pay, how much each lecturer supposed to receive for this teaching and all that. And then it goes on. So there's a platform for the HR department, there's a platform for the distance school, there's a platform for the finance department, but we can all be working on one common platform, so we share information together, so that my information about my student can be shared with the finance people. Will be aware how many of you have paid your fees for the second semester, so they know how everything is working within the organization. We don't need to be transferring information from on one common platform, which is the enterprise systems. We can be able to do that. So they use internet technology to integrate information within the business and with external stakeholders like the students, or you, the student, are the customers of the school, and then suppliers, those who supply us certain resources or certain materials for our distance school, and then our partner institutions. Sometimes we collaborate with other institutions, find out how their distance program is, so we learn from each other. So we can use this system to integrate and support our activity. There are four main types. There are several of systems, but even the four that we just spoke about, the control process systems, the executive information system, and all those ones that we spoke about, those are all systems. But when we talk about the enterprise system, there are four main elements of this enterprise systems. And the first one is the ERP. So the ERP is the father or the mother of all enterprise systems. That is the most common and then the most powerful of the enterprise systems. And when we talk about the ERP system or the enterprise resource planning systems, most of you are aware, most organizations uses the ERP systems in their company, where several systems are integrated on one common platform called the ERP, where we can be able to share information. And so even your results, I go on the university ERP, submit your results, and then you also go on the same ERP, but your side is called the SIP, and then you can be able to access your results and then be able to. So they are all integrated on one common platform called the ERP systems to support production, finance, distribution, or marketing, sales, and all that. They can be on one platform. And then we also have what we call the customer relationship management system, which deals with the organization and its customers. So here we can have one common platform. So maybe we can term the LMS as maybe customer relationship, not basically, but we can just use that because that's the common place where the school shares most of its information with you when it comes to lectures. Understand? Who submitted his work, who is not attending, who is not opening the platform. We are aware, we know, so that sometimes a message can even be sent to you that, oh, for the past 3 months you've not been on this ERP system or the LMS system. What is happening? Are you able to access the portal, or you are not able to access? So the customer relationship management system is basically used to monitor the organization and the relationship with its customers, what they purchase from the organization, how they purchase, and then the services they need from the organization. And then we have the supplier management system, which is concerned with the flow of materials, information, customers, cash, and all that through the supply chain. So here, from the time we get the raw materials from the community or from our suppliers, all the way to we process these materials it becomes a product of the organization. Then we move them to the sales and the marketing department so that we can advertise this product, and then now we get the product to the consumers. There is a system that monitors all the activities that has to take place in order for us to achieve this goal. And then we have the supplier relationship management. So this manages the relationship between the organization and its suppliers, just like the customer relationship management. The supplier relationship management also monitors the relationship between the suppliers and the organization. The purchases we do, how we do the purchases, at what point do we make the purchases, and all stuff. So that is basically, or these are the main types of what the enterprise systems. So this is a typical enterprise systems, the current enterprise systems, and then the former way of how organizations were working. You could see the old ones deals with what? Individual or single systems, each system on its own. When you go to the finance, they have their own platform they use. It doesn't integrate with other platforms. When you go to the manufacturing department, they also have their software they use or system they use. The marketing also have their own system. But now when we come to the new one, we can integrate all these systems on one bigger system called the enterprise system, where we can be able to share information across. So what the marketing department has can also be shared with the HR. So the HR knows what is going on. The marketing department, the money they have spent in marketing, what they have sold, and all that they know. The distribution department is also aware. The marketing or the manufacturing are also aware, and then the finance. So that is how this enterprise system works, so that we can be able to operate effectively in our organization. All right, so business information technology or business information system, and then the strategic advantages that this technology gives to our businesses today. So what are some of the advantages? So for different markets, to what extent can business information systems or business information technology support or impact customer or cost leadership, product differentiation, and then innovation? When we talk about cost leadership, technology can help the organization to reduce the cost involved of the customers getting to the organization or receiving services or product from the organization. One typical example is our distance school. We decided that, look, our distance school, we don't want to be doing this face-to-face every weekend. Students are supposed to come to campus for face-to-face. We rather want to reduce the cost involved in providing these services, this education to our students. So what can we do? We want to have an online classes with them. So instead of traveling from Temale to Accra every weekend, they can be home, spend some small amount of money, buy data, and then they can be part of the class. So instead of booking flight or joining a bus, come to Accra, book a hotel, stay in the hotel for Friday night and Saturday night, and then Sunday, maybe you might not even close early, so you can't go home, or maybe you close early, so you decide to go back after Sunday, and the journey that you have to, those are all expensive. So technology can help us to be able to reduce the cost involved, so that we become a low cost leadership organization where our services are affordable. We don't spend much money to receive our product or services. And then different product differentiation. We can differentiate our product from other products by using technology. So we are differentiating our distance school from the normal traditional distance schools that other universities are having. Ours is online instead of face-to-face every weekend. Everything is done on the LMS instead of giving you physical books, physical materials, and then all that. So we are differentiating our products and technology is helping us to differentiate our product. And then innovation. Some years back, we never had distance school, but today here we are. We have innovated, come up with new ideas or new product called a distance school, which is an online kind of school that helps students who are busy, who travel a lot, who don't have days, who don't have time to be part of this system. All right, so technology can be used, or business information technology can be used to support all this or to impact all these three areas. There are more. We can also talk about what growth. Technology can help you to grow your business. You can expand your business from a tabletop business into a multinational business because of the use of what? Technology. All right, so these are some of the strategic advantages that technology gives us whenever that we implement technology in our business environment. All right, so let's talk about Michael Porter's value chain quickly, and then we will be ending soon. I don't know whether this is part of your slides because it's your slides. I don't know whether I added this before I sent it to you or I added it later. If this is not part of your slide, then I have to resend that.
Yes, please. It's not part.
It's not part. Okay, so I'll send this or I'll post this on the LMS so you can.
Okay.
I just updated the slides, added some few stuff to the slides. About the class supposed to how many 18 students? Why what's happening? Where are others? Or they've gone for funeral. I was hoping that as we start the lectures, the others will join, but seems it was even 13 and then one person has that network issue. I don't know whether people are also tired. It seems today I went to class and then most of my students were not in class.
Wow.
Like physical class and empty. This one says I'm sick. This one says I'm sick. This one says I'm sick. And so I don't know whether that has also entered into the distance school for this weekend. All right. So Michael Porter is a professor. Now he's even it's either emeritus professor or a professor who is also a vice chancellor. He used to be a lecturer at the Harvard Business School. He was teaching at the business school at Harvard University in the United States. All right. Then he has written several books. He's one of the great thinkers when it comes to economy and then management. He's one of the great management thinkers. He has written several books. He has come up with several models that helps to define what businesses are supposed to. And then he even came up with what we call the competitive forces, which maybe as time goes on, we'll talk about them. And then he also came up with another model called the value chain model. So the value chain model basically indicates that businesses add value to their activities. So a series of connected activities that add value. So we are performing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So all these activities add value to our business activities that we perform or our product. So whenever the step-by-step activities are connected together, it helps us to be able to add value to our. So when we look at chain, the normal chain that some men are into chains. The chain is not just a single chain, but it's a combination of several chains that are joined together to form a bigger chain. I don't know if you have seen normal chain that people put on their necklace and then whatever, those are their feet and all those things. We combine several of these chains so that it becomes a beautiful chain. And then we can use this chain anytime. So that is what Michael Porter is saying, that the step-by-step or the little chains that are joined together, when we join these chains together, it becomes one big chain, which is called the value chain, because we are adding value to our activity. And then this value chain helps us to be able to understand or identify the areas that we need to improve or where we have an advantage, so we can invest more. I think IT department, we have advantage when it comes to schools in Ghana here, so let's invest more in the IT department so we can have a lot of students. Or maybe our strength is in the business school, So let's focus more at the business school and get a lot of students. The value chain will let you know where to invest and then how to invest the money within the organization. So the value chain is a related concept that describes the different value adding activities that connect a company's supplier side with its demand side. So when we talk about the supplier side, from the time we try to procure or purchase the raw materials, that is the supplier side, getting the raw materials from our suppliers through to what? Sending this product, the end product of the raw materials that we got, to the environment or to the community so that people can use the product or purchase the product or make use of our services. The value chain helps us to be able to add value. So we get the raw materials from our supplier, Akwesi Boachi's company. Now when we get the raw materials, that is the procurement unit to purchase these items. They have their procurement warehouse where they keep the items. The production team needs to go to the procurement unit and then go and get the raw materials, move them from the procurement warehouse to the production warehouse, where now we have to convert these raw materials into products. And then after converting them, we move them from the production unit to the marketing unit, the marketing and the distribution unit. Then we market the product, and then from there, so it goes to the marketing unit, and then after we market, it moves to the distribution, where now these items will be distributed to our suppliers, our customers. And then that is, so we use this value chain, or the value chain helps us to be able to identify where we need to improve, where we need to invest more, so we can be able to gain competitive advantage in the environment. And then he did describe two main activities that goes on when it comes to the value chain. He talks about the primary activities and then the secondary activities. What are the primary activities? The primary activities are basically activities that have direct contact with the manufacturing of the product. For instance, in this school, in the distance school, the lecturers have direct contact with you guys more than the other administrative staff. Those administrative staff, they monitor the day-to-day running. They make sure we have the link every Sunday, but they don't teach you. They might be your friends, but they don't have direct contact. But they ensure the day-to-day running of the distance school. Without them, you might think we the lecturers will work, but we will not work. Because if they don't pay me, I won't be motivated to come and teach. They have to monitor whether we are teaching and everything is working perfectly, and then they also process our payment, and then we get our money. So they don't have direct contact. Those are the secondary activities that helps us to be able to perform our primary activities. So when we go in there, we need to have the purchasing department where they purchase the raw materials, or we admit students into the school, we move them to the production, that is the teaching. We produce you to become product of the school, and then after the product we distribute you, or we market you to Ghana or to the world, and then people will just buy you, which becomes our consumers or our customers. They get you, they employ you, you become, and then we know that you are a product of JCTU. And then the secondary one also deals with what? The procurement unit at the highest level, where they do the procurement, all the procurement activities. And they also have the HR department where they perform all the administrative activities, just like the distance school. Madam Beta and then the staff or some of the workers there, they do the HR, and then Madam Sylvia, they do the HR activities. Afterwards, they send the reports to the coordinator, which is Dr. B.
Sir, please, we can't hear from you again.
I'm sure it is his network. The network is not.
Sure.
People, sorry. My feet just touched my cable and then the internet connection just went off. I've tried to connect it for almost. Well, I'm in my office too.
Okay,
Sorry.
sir.
So sometimes I just touch it and then everything goes off. Takes me almost 10 minutes, 20 minutes to try to connect it back. Alright, so I've been explaining. Let's finish quickly so you can have some time for your next class. I have some few slides to end it up. Alright, so I have explained the Michael Porter value chain, right? The primary activities and then the secondary activities that support. So this deals with what? Physical activities that goes on within our environment. And then there are other groups who have also come up with this value chain, but they believe that virtual or using technology, we can also add value to our activities in the. So I've explained this secondary and then the primary activities. So you can read through them. So this is a typical value chain environment where we have the inbound logistics, where we do the procurement of the raw materials, bring them into the organization, house them in a warehouse, then we move them from that inbound to the production unit where we produce these raw materials to become products. And then after producing, we now have to move them to the outbound logistics where it moves from the production to a distribution channel or to another center where we begin to advertise or market the product, and then we sell the product. And then after selling the product, we do what we call the buyer or the sales and then buyer relationship discussion, where we go back to the customer to find out the satisfaction of the product that he or she bought from us, and then we can move on and then move on and then move on to the last, and then that is the channel. So that is the primary activity. And then the secondary one is up here, the HR department, the finance department. We're also using information systems sometimes or using technology to support all these activities. They do not have direct contact with the activities here, but they support the day-to-day running of the organization. All right, so Report and then Sylvia have what suggested the concept of what the virtual value chain, the VVC. So instead of the value chain, they believe virtual value chain, which they try to explain how information can help to what create competitive advantage. So now when we move from the normal physical activities, by having information and then managing the information using technology, will give you an advantage or competitive advantage over your competitors. And that is basically true. So now we want to move from where the physical market space or marketplace to what? The market space. We don't want to remain in the marketplace where now we are selling our product in the same market, but we move to market space where technology can help us to reach everywhere, whether in Ghana here, whether in Togo, whether in Ivory Coast, whether in Tunisia. Technology can be able to help us to get our products to our customers. All right, so the virtual or the value chain deals with what? The normal marketplace where we sell products, we market our product, people come to buy, and then we go back and find out from them whether they are satisfied with our services. But the market space deals with using technology to support all your activities. So they suggested that companies adopting a virtual market space or value chain tend to go through 3 phases. So we will look at the first phase and then look at, so each phase, the companies have the opportunity to what? Reduce cost, also improve efficiency, and then also find new ways of what? Doing things. So as you go through the phases, you are either trying to reduce cost. In the normal value chain, we have to market the product. It has to go through all the stages in order to produce. But as at now, we are in the market space. We are using the market space for the distance school, where people don't need to come. Our raw materials are not supposed to. For instance, you are the raw materials of the distance school, right? You are not supposed to physically come to the school for us to produce you to become a product of the university. But virtually, you can be somewhere, which we are trying to reduce cost, improve efficiency, the amount of resources that need to go through or to go in order to produce you as a product. It has to be reduced. We don't spend a lot of money in it, and also finding new ways of doing things or running our school. And that is basically what we call the virtual value chain. Everything is done on the internet or using technology to support the activities. All right. So the virtual value chain, it gives the first phase is what? The visibility. The distance school of GCT is becoming visible because of how the activities are performed. It is not a physical location kind of activity. It is an electronic way of conducting business. So the company becomes what? Visible. People get to know about the company. So we can use information system to examine the physical value chain more closely to be able to be visible. That this and this and this are the steps we need to go through to produce this. So using information or gathering information, we are able to conduct online distance school, because we gathered information from all the other universities, UCC, Legon, and all those schools. And then he said, okay, since they are doing physical and then all this, why don't we also implement the online teaching in Ghana here? And then it is becoming effective. So we use technology to manage activities in the physical value chain more efficiently. So at this stage, we are using technology to manage all the physical, instead of you to come to campus, have lectures, and go back home and all that. We want to use technology to support this activity by having online classes and all. And then mirroring the capability. So physical processes start to be replaced by virtual processes, and that is one of our activities. We mirror the physical process and then use technology to support. We don't want to have physical classroom teaching every day, but we want to have virtual classroom teaching every day, so that we can be able. So at the initial space, we try to do things parallel. That is why now we still have some component of face-to-face meeting, where once a while you have to come to campus. But as time goes on, all this face-to-face will fade off, where everything will be physically, electronically done. You have to have all your meetings, and even as time goes on, maybe exams will be conducted online and stuff, where students will not need to come to campus and then write physical exams. Because we even have some students who are outside Ghana, and therefore they write their exams physically though, but not in Ghana here. Wherever they are, they sit, their cameras are on, we monitor them, then they write their exams. And then new customer relationships. This will also help us to be able to, if you have information or when you gather information, it helps you to be able to provide or build a kind of strong customer relationship. So virtual company helps us to be able to. Sometimes you have not even met, some of you met Madam Beta when you came to campus to write your exams. Oh, this is the woman. Oh, I've been talking to her. Oh, I didn't know her. You understand? Become excited. So gathering information will help you to be able to gather information about your customers, build a strong relationship, discuss issues without physically meeting. You will never meet the person, but you can conduct your business through the internet and all that, in order to be able to expand the business and all that. So this is basically a typical computer-based information system for competitive advantage. So that is the organization, and then we can use information system to, or we can leverage on information system to increase the or raise entry barriers. So if you want to enter into our environment, you need to spend a lot of money, because technology is very expensive. So the moment you begin to integrate technology and use technology, it becomes very expensive for people to come into such environment. It's also improve on what operational efficiency. Using technology can help us to improve operational efficiency, increase switching cost. It also becomes very difficult to switch to other suppliers or other companies. The moment we invest in technology, it becomes so difficult for our customers to switch to other companies. And it promote business innovation, and then also lock in the customer and supplier. So it locks you, the customer, into the business. So these are all competitive strategies that can be put in place using technology by an organization to be able to gain competitive advantage over your competitors in the business environment. And this is a typical description of what the virtual value chain organization or business is all about. All right, so that is it for today. We've gone through the microprocessor forces. We also defined business information systems and then the components that come together to form the business information. Then we've spoken about what the advantages of computer processing systems, and they also spoke about some of the different types of what information systems that are needed to support our business activities in any environment or in any business environment we find ourselves. All right, so that is it for today. We will end our discussion. So I open up floor for questions and contributions before we end our meeting. All right. So any question, any contribution? Anything from anyone as we close? But do you understand the discussion?
Yes, sir.
It's okay. All right, then if you understood, then that's okay. Thank God. So I already post or upload this one on the portal so that you can have the microportal explanation of the discussion also, and that will be it. So next week we will start a new topic. As I said, the hardware and the software, you just have to read through them. Those are basic things, so you can just read through them. You have already done that before, so we wouldn't. So that is our reading. Even if we have, okay, what I'm going to do is during our physical meeting, that is what we are going to do. We will have presentation. All right. So you guys are only 18 or so. So we have just 3 groups here, 3 groups, 6 in a group. Based on the slides, the hardware, software, prepare your own slides and then come and discuss. Based on your understanding of the slides, you also prepare your own notes and then come and then. So when we meet on campus, that will be your presentation or your discussion. So the group will come and present on their understanding. So you have about 20 minutes, you present, you explain. Then another group will come and present, and then the other group will present on that topic, hardware. So, and then that will be it. The hardware and then the software, and then that will be it for our physical meeting or face-to-face meeting if you are meeting on campus. I hope I'm making sense.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. So you can have about 40 minutes rest before you have your last class. I'll also rest more, and then I can start my last class for the day. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll meet again next weekend. Okay. Right. So bye for now, and enjoy the rest of your lectures.